Oh, as all of you know, I really hate the heat. It is my biggest enemy. If it is too hot in my room, I cannot stream. I just get sweaty. Everything starts to stick to me. I start to burn, and I can't breathe, and I can't think, and I just can't speak or function or anything. I just can't stream while I'm overheated. And living in Southern California, you can imagine staying cool has become like a constant struggle. You know, it's like a constant side mission that I always have to make sure I'm achieving is staying cooled off. So, right now as I speak, it is a cool 91 degrees Fahrenheit at 2 a.m. in the middle of the night. The high usually gets to be around 105 to 110 this time of year where I am. However, during the hotter parts of the summer, it was getting roughly to around 115 to 120, sometimes higher every day during the really peak of the day. And it was rough. And I live in, some of the hottest part of Southern California. With that said, you can imagine that air conditioning is a necessity, not just for comfort, but pretty much for survival, especially here in Palm Springs, where I live. Here in Palm Springs, it's a whole lot of old people, and those old people can't really handle extreme heat. They need air conditioning to not die. And so keeping the air conditioning on, keeping the power on is really important. So much so that here in Palm Springs, I don't believe the power company is allowed to shut off your power during the summer because people will die because of it, especially old people. Like legally, even if you don't pay your electric bill, they can't shut off your power during the summer. That's how bad it is. So you can imagine that this news that I woke up to was a little startling. I woke up to a warning on my phone today. A warning that said, please ensure that you keep your power consumption minimal as we are experiencing high usage on the California power grid, and we may be experiencing rolling blackouts and occasional outages due to extreme power consumption. Please try to limit it during the month, from now to 9 p.m. So I just waited until midnight to stream for that's a big part of it too. And this is happening all over Southern California. If you go on Twitter, you can see a whole lot of people are talking about it right now, about the rolling blackouts and the power companies having to shut off people's power occasionally right now because of the strain on the power grid, because so many people are cranking up their ACs to keep cool, which is end up making the problem worse for a lot of people. So we're raising money for Santa to get a solar panel and energy bank. I live in an apartment right now, so when I move to Seattle, I won't need a solar panels. They wouldn't really be useful in Seattle either, if I'm being honest. But no, with all that said, you can imagine that worried the fuck out of me, and I decided to do a little bit of research on it, and I found a variety of things. I found a lot of very eye-opening info on it, and it built on a lot of stuff I already knew about PG&E, the Pacific Coast Electric Company that's just really fucking shitty. The thing that you may know them for is their really bad, multiple decades out-of-date infrastructure that is currently starting various wildfires all across the West Coast right now. PG&E, the power company, the company that makes the power, that has made the power grid, the majority of the power grid that is failing right now, that we're discussing, is also responsible for a lot of those forest fires because they won't update their infrastructure. They're a private company too, by the way, so anyone who tries to claim this is a communist California thing, complete bullshit. PG&E, private company, bullshit. Anyway. Let's read this article. Well, let's learn about this shit, because conservatives are spreading massive amounts of misinformation about it. They're trying to claim, hey, so this is what you get for electing Governor Gavin Newsom. You get to watch container ships full of crude oil. Oh, let me actually read you, literally, word for word, a direct tweet that I unironically saw today that just blew my mind. This tweet has 21,000 likes. 21,000 people are stupid enough to like this, and counting. The like count is actively growing as we speak. Californians watching the lights go out while gigantic oil tankers leave their ports full of oil destined for other countries might just be the best example of communism in the history of communism. As I said, guys, the internet is making reality more and more optional by the day. As the truth becomes more and more, like, easy to access, it becomes more and more exciting and more appealing to believe in more complicated, more out of this world, crazier sounding lies. Because sometimes the truth just sounds too simple. And sometimes the truth is uncomfortable. I have to say, I never really gave Al Gore props. I never really gave Al Gore props, but naming his documentary An Inconvenient Truth unironically goes hard as fuck. The title An Inconvenient Truth, like when you really think about it, especially at that time, goes hard as fuck. I wish I was old enough to remember that election too, with Gore, Bush v. Gore. I wasn't old enough to remember it. How old was I during Bush v. Gore? It was boring? No, it wasn't. Bush v. Gore was one of the most, like, bloodthirsty elections, like, in modern American history. Like, if we're honestly going to, like, if they're, in modern American history, if we were going to, like, rate elections and their, like, viciousness, I'd probably do Trump v. Hillary, Trump v. Biden, Bush v. Gore, from my understanding of it. I was alive for it. It was not interesting. Are you shitting me? Yes, it was. What? I wasn't even there for it, and what I've looked into about it seems interesting. So it happened in December 12th, 2000. So I was 1 year old. No, I would have been 2. I would have just turned 2. Anyway. Climate change is a bitch. A record-setting heat wave made life miserable in much of the West on Tuesday, with California stretching into its second week of excessive heat that taxed the state's power supply and threatened power shortages that could prompt blackouts while people were desperately trying to stay cool. The California Independent System Operator, the entity that oversees the state's electric grid, said there could be rotating power outages Tuesday evening when demand for power could reach an all-time high. Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom urged residents to conserve, warning in a video message that the risk of outages is real and it's immediate. The Republicans are blaming Gavin Newsom for this, by the way. Don't ask them to try to explain how he's at fault for this, but, yeah. This heat wave is on track to be both the hottest and the longest on record for the state and many parts of the West for the month of September, Newsom said. Everyone has to do their part to help step up for just a few more days. California's state capital of Sacramento tied a record Tuesday with its 41st day of temperatures reaching at least 100 degrees Fahrenheit, 38 degrees Celsius, and there was a chance the city would break its all-time high temperature of 114 degrees Fahrenheit. That's nothing. It was 115 a couple days ago here. Would break its all-time high temperature of 114 degrees Fahrenheit, 46 degrees Celsius, set in 1925, according to the National Weather Service. Sacramento native Debbie Chang was out walking in Capitol Park on Tuesday morning, pulling a wagon of Pop-Tarts and water to hand out to homeless people. Based! Very fucking based, by the way. Here in Palm Springs, the heat is so bad, it's literally illegal to deny anybody water. If you're like a business or like a restaurant or whatever, if a homeless person, anybody walks in and says, please, I need water, you have to give it to them for free. Water is free. I'm pretty sure that's true in most places, honestly, but especially here. She lives in an old house that relies on wall-mounted units that she says don't work so well. The temperature reached 91 degrees, 33 degrees Celsius in her house Monday night. The past few years in California, it's really rough, she said. I really love this state, and growing up, I never imagined I'd exactly want to live outside of California, unless maybe internationally, but this is very difficult. In neighboring Nevada, Reno set a record of 102 degrees, 39 degrees Celsius on Monday, while in Utah's Salt Lake City, temperatures were about 20 degrees higher than normal, hitting 105 degrees, 40.5 degrees Celsius on Tuesday, the hottest September day recorded going back to 1874. Damn. Scientists say climate change has made the West warmer and drier over the last 3 decades and will continue to make weather more extreme and wildfires more frequent and destructive. In the last 5 years, California has experienced the largest and most destructive fires in state history. So, this has nothing to do with communism. And obviously, boats of crude oil being shipped out of California harbors, which is owned by private companies and is being sold off to private companies in other countries, has nothing to do with communism, obviously, if you know anything about economics and aren't just trying to make communism a boogeyman for political gain because the truth is optional to Republicans, then you would know that this is clearly an issue having to do with the fact that California is California not the most populous state? California, population 38 million. 38 million. The GDP of California is 4 times that of France, apparently. California is pretty fucking big. So population of Poland? Yeah, like entire countries are as big as California in terms of population. Many countries are much smaller in size. With that said, though, California is essentially, like, you could argue could be its own country if it wanted to be. There have been people who've wanted California to secede. I think that's fucking stupid, and I don't think it should, and I think logistically it would suffer. But there have been people who've argued that. And you could argue that it would be feasible with how much of a powerful entity California has become. With that said, though, yeah, California has the 5th largest GDP in the world. Though, to be fair, it's a lot of states are surprisingly high up on the nation's GDP scale when you can, because they're states in America, and America is up in the top 3 if not number 1. I haven't checked in a while, but with that said, it really does seem crazy to me that conservatives have weaponized this so quickly and managed to weave such a narrative already. Let me go ahead and read some of the tweets about this that are just so deranged. This person just tweeted, "The uncomfortable reality that California was never suited to sustain a population of 40 million people in ideal non-drought and or extreme heat conditions. Say snowmelt in the Sierra Nevada continues to decrease, the Colorado continues to dry up. There goes SoCal's water supply." And a lot of its power supply, too, arguably. Yeah, that is definitely a concern having to do with climate change. Holy fucking shit. Tanker makes one last drop before nightfall on the Fairview fire in Riverside County that is now nearing 5,000 acres. Holy shit. You guys want to see a plane drop fire retardant on a fire that's being... This is in the desert, by the way. The fire is actually burning into the desert. Me when I fart. Me when I have Taco Bell and I fart, it's all blood. It's a girl! No, the gender reveal party is what started the wildfire. Fire Arsler, you mean? True. True, I will make sure to correct myself next time. Fire Arsler. Wait, which stream has the least delay? Oh no. I always feel so bad when someone comes into Twitch chat and they don't know. They lack critical information. 10% of the U.S. economic base. Well, a lot of... So California is a very, very, strong population, very strong economy. However, as said in that tweet, which is actually kind of accurate, doesn't really have the infrastructure as it stands updated right now to support this population. The biggest thing is the wildfires being caused by outdated electrical infrastructure. A lot of the power lines going all up and down the West Coast that are made and run by PG&E stopped being viable for use, like, and safe for use a decade ago. That's why we're seeing these wildfires start all the fucking time. So, yeah. Anyway, if you enjoyed this segment, hopefully you learned something. Hopefully this debunked a little bit of misinformation you've heard from the right about this. It's not communism. It doesn't have anything to do with Gavin Newsom. It doesn't have anything to do with solar power or green energy either. This is literally not anything to do whatsoever with, like, how much power there is. It's an issue of how many people can take power from the system. How many people at once can be using so much power from the grid without overloading the grid? Not how much power there is. There's plenty of power. California pays neighboring states to take their excess power that they generate. Okay? It is not a matter of there not being enough power. There is plenty. So much so that California can't even store it and gives the extra off to, like, other states that are neighboring. It is literally a matter of the grid and the infrastructure, which, by the way, Gavin Newsom, who recently got reelected, or reelected, it was his not reelected, it was a revote, like fuck, I'm blanking on the word right now. This is what I get for smoking weed on stream. Referendum. It was referendum vote, right? Not a referendum, recall, that's the word. Sorry. Yeah, he survived the recall, and thank God. So basically, Gavin Newsom does have an infrastructure plan that he does have on the, like, in his here, we can actually look at it. Gavin Newsom infrastructure plan. I know, guys, we're talking about real politics. Please don't get bored. Governor Gavin Newsom today announced federal grants totaling more than $317 million to assist 7 jurisdictions that continue to recover and rebuild after 2018 federally declared disasters when wildfires burned more than 1.6 million acres and destroyed hundreds of homes and businesses, particularly in the town of Paradise in Butte County. The Community Development Block Grant Disaster Recovery, CDBG-DR, funds announced today are for foundational infrastructure projects that must be completed as communities work to build and rebuild needed housing, especially housing for low and moderate income Californians, and ensure that every household that was displaced in these disasters has the opportunity to return home. So he's doing an infrastructure bill that will help fix the destroyed housing and the people that were displaced by the fires. However, he also has one for the electrical grid. Here, let me find the bit about upgrading the power grid. Beginning Wednesday, California and Western U.S., or just the Western U.S., I don't know why they word it like that, and the Western U.S. will experience extreme heat that will strain the grid with increased energy demands. In response, Gavin Newsom has proclaimed a state of emergency to temporarily increase energy production and reduce demand. The California Independent System Operator has called a flex alert for today, August 31st, that was a couple days ago, asking Californians to reduce their energy consumption between 4 a.m. and 9 p.m. I got that today as well, to save power and to reduce risk of outages. One of the things that I've been told really has to be done is that PG&E and the flex alert, why do they call it a flex alert? It sounds like something from a Rice Gum video. Hey, yo, guys, flex alert! Yo, check out my new vape, bro, flex alert! Like, anyway, I heard that one of the big issues having to do with the infrastructure of the electrical system, the power grid out here in California, is that PG&E, a private company, does not want to upgrade the infrastructure because it essentially means them spending a lot of money and resources for no real gain other than there's less wildfires, and how's that help them, you know? So it's really going to require Gavin Newsom and the California state government really tightening the noose around the neck of private businesses such as PG&E to force them to upgrade their infrastructure, because unfortunately, haven't they had lawsuits? That is part of it. Extreme lawsuits are a big part of it, but PG&E is a powerful company, and companies that are based around energy production and the facilitation of it are notoriously powerful. Oil companies, coal companies, electric companies, electrical infrastructure companies, extreme monopolization power, extreme lobbying power, and extreme immunity power, just generally, when it comes to like their ability to hire lawyers and fight off lawsuits. Why are corporations always evil? Power production corporations are really like the stereotype of how evil it gets. Like they are the like oil, coal, all that. Like that is really where it gets like the most brutal in in terms of like corporate greed and corporate like stereotypical like billionaire, millionaire, like mustache twirling type shit. At least that's how it seems to me. Anyway, God help us. I'm getting the fuck out of California and moving up north to Seattle as soon as I can. And if you want to support me in doing so, you can always help by, well, liking the video if you enjoyed it. It's very simple, takes half a second, helps way more than you realize. It's just a simple hitting that thumbs up button. And of course, if you want to see more from me, you can subscribe and ring the bell icon and turn on all notifications so YouTube actually tells you when I go live or upload a new video, because they will not do it otherwise. And of course, if you want to see more from me online, you can follow my social media, link down below, especially my Twitter, all the spiciest memes are, as well as my fan Discord, where all the most fun stuff happens, I'd say. We got like watch parties in there, I play games with people, I just sometimes hop in, join the VC, and we talk. It's just a fun community. Regardless, though, if you want to support me financially and directly, and like the most substantially, you can do so by, well, you can come to my website, xanderhall.com/live, and make an account, and you can donate, subscribe, or gift a sub on there, which is always very much appreciated. Or you can support me through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, StreamElements, or Patreon. But no matter how you support me, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good one.